Hey, what's going on guys? Kai here, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VI using no Magicite. Today, we'll be going through the Magitek Research Facility and fighting new enemies. Alright, Pipsqueaks and Proto-Armors. These guys are all weak to lightning. So you want to go with Aspic on Gaw, or you can go with Hazer if you don't have Aspic. And Flash with Edgar, those are all really good ways to go. I'd go with Bolt Magic if you have it on Celeste. And Locke is pretty much a wasted character slot, so oh well. Oh, I like this dungeon. It's got good treasure, good music, good battles, more enemies, commandos, and Garms. We've already seen these guys, and they are not weak to lightning. So we'll just go with Marshall. Fire Dance would also be pretty good if you have Sabin in your party. Really, any multi-targeting magic attack is the path to victory here. Ooh, here we get a Flame Saber. That's a pretty good weapon. Not for attacking, but it raises your magic power by 2. And in this case, it is a fire elemental weapon. And it has the added effect of casting fire when you attack at a rate of 25%. And this is the point in the game where we're going to start to see more of those proc weapons. And basically how those work are you attack, and you have a 1 in 4 chance of casting a spell in addition to your attack damage. And it's the same for all the proc weapons in the game, it's always 25%. But the tricky thing about them is even though it looks like a spell, it's not. The game considers it to be a physical attack. Just like those elemental stones in Breath of Fire, where it looks like they deal elemental damage, but they're in fact non-elemental. So with that in mind, whenever you attack with an elemental weapon and you cast a spell, if your character's in the front row, it'll deal more damage, just like a regular attack. And if you get a critical hit, it'll also deal more damage, which is pretty strange because normally you can't get critical hits on spells. And the other really nice thing about proc weapons is that if you're fighting an enemy that has Reflect, and say they're weak to fire and you want to hit them with a fire spell, you can just attack them with a fire elemental weapon. And when you get that proc to go off, it'll go through their Reflect, because technically it's coming from your character's weapon and not from them casting the spell outright. And just like any other physical attack, if you want to boost the damage of the proc, you should probably equip either an Atlas Armlet or a Hero's Ring. But for right now, they're not all that useful because the enemies here just have really high physical defense. Here we get a Zephyr Cape, that gives you 10% evade. But you still want to hang on to them all the same. Shadow can throw them to deal elemental damage to single targets, and that's pretty much the biggest use for them, in my opinion. So I want to hang on to those elemental swords for later. But for right now, you can give them to Edgar to boost the damage of his Flash, and yeah, we got one on Celeste to boost her magic as well, so we're good. So today, well yesterday I should say, officially marks the first day of my vacation. I'm off all week from work, and I can already foresee much triple triad. I also foresee a lot of progress being made in my LPs. I'm hoping to finish Breath of Fire by the end of this coming week, actually. Here we get the Dragoon Boots. Could have stole these back in Zozo. What those do is it changes your fight command into the jump command. Allows your character to do what you think it does, just like in every other Final Fantasy game. They jump off screen and they come down on an enemy dealing damage. And it's not so good right now, but later on in the game the Dragoon setup is very powerful, and it's one of my favorite setups to use. Yeah, we'll show off these guys a little bit more, why not? They have an ability called Exploder, which is a kamikaze attack. But if you just use Marshall, or a multi-targeted Bolt spell, or Flash, then you should take them all out in one round. But getting back to the jump command, it has a lot of good things about it. Number one, if your character is equipped with a spear, they deal double the damage when they attack an enemy. It allows them to avoid damage because they're off-screen, so they can't be targeted by spells or abilities. It's also a very fast ability. It takes priority over any other action in battle, so you don't have to input the command and then sit around waiting for them to execute it. If only there was a way to further augment the jump ability. What the? Kefka! Why are we hiding? Let's kick this guy's ass. Come on. We have Gaul. We can inflict stop on him. Not that we should be able to, but whatever. What statues? Those must be some of the captive Espers we came to rescue. Take a hike? Really, Woolsey? Your odd, out-of-context translations never cease to amaze me. Alright, you son of a... Well, before I was rudely interrupted by that random battle in which Edgar and Celeste gained a level, I was going to say, you son of a bit! Where'd he go? Well, like all good bad guys, Kefka probably has the ability to teleport. So, let's go up here first and get a tent. And if you go down here, and then to the left, we get a secret gold armor. Alright, let's give that to Edgar. It's why I didn't buy the Mithril Mail down at Miranda, because you find this one. And if we come over here, there's another somewhat secret item. We get the gold helmet, but I prefer the green berets. And now we gotta do a little bit of backtracking. Go check in on those Espers. Actually, Edgar and Locke and Celeste, wow, we all took a beating in those last few battles. Huh? Nothing to say? What the? Yo, let's go! We got boss time against Ifrit himself. Alright. So Ifrit, as you can imagine, is weak to fire. He's completely immune to lightning and holy, so you don't want to use Aura Bolt. And you want to go with Drill on Edgar and Cat Scratch on Gaw. Unfortunately, Cat Scratch does not pierce defense like the Drill. And he's also in the back row, which doesn't help matters. And I can't change his row because he's berserked. I could have used Ice on Celeste, which I probably should have done. But yeah, don't use Thunder, don't use Holy. If you're going to use physical attacks, make sure they pierce defense. So Pummel, Dispatch, things like that. And once you take off about 3,000 HP, you win the battle. If your DPS is pretty low, then periodically Ifrit will disappear and Shiva will jump in, and the elemental properties are just switched. She's still immune to lightning and holy, but you want to use fire instead of ice. Yeah, that is true. But for defeating Ifrit and Shiva, we get their Magicite shards. Alright. Now, Ifrit is a pretty good Esper because it's the first one that... Ooh, new enemies, Flans. It's the first Esper you have that increases your strength when you gain a level. That'll be really good for your melee characters, such as Edgar, Cyan, Locke, you know. Well, I would keep Locke on Siren, honestly, for the HP boosts. What, more of these guys? Oh, I could have attacked with Locke in that last battle. He does have the full moons and not an elemental weapon, but oh well. I still stand by my statement that both Locke and Celeste are pretty much useless here. Alright, let's take a look at Shiva specifically. If you summon them, it deals fire elemental attack to all enemies. Shiva does ice to all enemies. And if you are playing with Magicite, the Rasp ability, well, Osmos will drain their MP and transfer it to you, but Rasp, it just flat out damages their MP. And there are a lot of enemies in this game that actually die when you take away all of their MP, just like in Star Ocean 3. And I don't think it's a glitch, because it's not one or two enemies here and there. It is a lot of enemies. Even bosses can be killed if you drain their MP. So Rasp is a really good spell to learn, if you are learning magic. Wow, I have two characters at level 20. This is bad. Okay, these guys aren't too bad. Generals, they are actually weak to poison. So let's get Trillium going on Gaw. Locke can actually attack these guys. But not for too much damage. And I tried to make Locke feel important, but he's pretty irrelevant, so oh well. Yeah, get wrecked. See, Flans, by the way, are weak to fire. There's one more enemy you can meet up with in these stairs, and I hope I don't. Fuck. Okay, these guys. Let's get to Edgar's turn ASAP. Hopefully this kills them. If not, Hazer can. Alright, good. Those guys have an ability called Level 5 Doom, which will kill any of your characters whose level is a multiple of 5. They also have Level 4 Flare, which deals massive damage, and Level 3 Muddle, which confuses you. It's bad. Ah, Gobbler and Rhinox, the last of the new enemies here. So you go with Marshall for Wind Slash. And yeah, we'll go with Flash. Now Rhinox is actually a very unique rage for Gob because it gives him, I believe, the Life 3 ability. Anyways, down here we get a secret Break Blade that will randomly try to petrify enemies when you attack. And it's a little stronger than the Elemental Blade, but it doesn't have the magic boost. So that rage could come in handy later, we'll see. At least I think it gives him Life 3. I know that's their special ability, but they can't use it because they don't have enough MP. So I might pick that up later and do some testing with it. There is one boss where that would come in handy, but it's not going to be this one because we're going to save this until next time, guys. But until then, as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. See you next time.